Well, we have an exciting chapter to do today. It's chapter 38 of Ezekiel. You know, Ezekiel, surprising how many things that we can read in here uh, that we can look at and marvel at because they haven't happened yet. And this is one of the things. It says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord God, It shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey." I'm going to stop right there and just talk about this. This is not happened. This has not happened yet. This is Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. It said, prophesy against him. This Gog and Magog and Meshech and Tubal, they are from the north. And what is in the north of Israel? Russia. And Meshech, it sounds like Moscow, doesn't it? And these are people that were from Japheth's line that settled up above Israel in the north. And this is the names of them. If we go back to where it talks about Japheth, let's go back to Genesis chapter 10. We go back to Genesis chapter 10, and we read about Japheth's people. And it says, the sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tiras. So those are named here. Meshech, Magog, Gomer, Magog, Meshech, Tubal. All of these are named here. And they settled up north of Israel. And these are nations that are going to come against Israel. It hasn't happened yet. It's going to come against Israel. Persia, which is Iran. Ethiopia and Libya with them. And we have nations called Ethiopia and Libya with them. All of them with shield and helmet. Gomer is supposedly from Germany. And the house of Togarmah of the north quarters. So people from the north are going to form an army, a huge army, with horses and horsemen. You know, right now we can't consider an army with horses. I mean, though we have cavalry and things like that, and where people fight hand-to-hand combat, and they fight with the cavalry. But we think about tanks, and we think about missiles, and we think about drones and all of that now. But this hasn't happened yet. So this is something that is going to happen. You know, I hear them talking about Russia now, and I hear them talking about the war with Ukraine and other things that Russia has done. And it all, I mean, some Bible scholars say that the Russians are making them a road to Israel through all these nations, making them a road to Israel. And with these nations allied with them, Persia is Iran. With all these nations allied with them, you know, they could do this. In fact, they're going to do it. The Bible teaches it. This right here, it says they're going to do it. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Who's going to think an evil thought? Gog, the leader of this whole bunch of nations that are going to come against Israel. And the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and he's the chief prince of that place. And Bible scholars I've read believe this is Russia. So we're right now looking at things going on over there that may be getting this all worked into place for this big band of nations to come against Israel. And what will they do? Let's see what they will do, and let's see what the Lord will do. Because it's going to come, he said, at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Now I want us to go back to verse 4 where it says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army. So God was talking like, you might not want to come. You might not want to do this. But I'm going to put hooks in your jaws, and you're going to do it. It's going to happen. And that evil thought's coming in your mind, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, and I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates. All of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates. That's the way we live now, without walls and without bars or gates. It's not like it was in times when people would come against cities that were walled up, and the walls, the gates were all closed up. You know, we know that there's such a thing as bombs. We know there's such a thing as airplanes flying over, and drones and missiles flying in to destroy. And so the time for bars and gates is kind of over. And so, for example, Highland City does not have bars and gates. If somebody wanted to come attack Highland City, they could, because it's not barred. In fact, none of the cities of America are. And that's the modern way, is not to have bars and gates. So they say that these people that are in Israel that would dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil. This evil thought is coming to your mind. I'll go there and take a spoil, to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited. Israel came back and inhabited Israel, the land of Israel. And now all of these nations are coming against it. And upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, Israel's gathered back to its land and has become a nation which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. So this is going to happen, and it hasn't yet. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, Art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey? To carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? So who is Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish? Okay, Sheba and Dedan, They're from the Arab nations around. Sheba and Dedam are like Saudi Arabia and places like that. We'll look in verse 13. It says, chapter 27 and 22. Let's go back to chapter 27. 27 and 22. The merchants of Sheba and Ramah, they were the merchants. So it's talking about the merchants in Tyre. But Sheba and Dedan were people that were from the Arab countries around there. That's what I believe. But the merchants of Tarshish, you know who they are? Tarshish is another word for England or Britain. And with all the young lions thereof. Its symbol is a lion. And we are one of the young lions. We are. And there's others, Australia, other nations that are the young lions thereof. They shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? They're just asking the question. They're not coming against them and saying you can't do this. Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? In other words, they're not going to stand up against them. We're not going to. We're not going to. That's a bad place right there for me. We're not going to stand up against Russia invading Israel. Because that's who the merchants of Tarshish. Let's see what it says here in 13 in the chapter 19, 3 and 5. Let's see what it says. Chapter 19, 3 and 5. That's about the young lions, about the lions. But I know that Tarshish is talking about Britain, and I know that the young lions thereof is talking about us. And that during this time, we're not going to stand up for Israel. And there's a reason we're not going to, besides maybe not wanting to be in the middle of World War III. Let's look at it. 14. Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, thus saith the Lord God, in that day when my people of Israel dwell safely, shalt thou not know it? And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel, as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog, before their eyes. So God is bringing them. That's why we're not standing against it. Not because we know that, because I could read this to President Trump. I could read this to the Congress. I could read this to everybody that has anything to do with the government. And would they pay attention? I don't think so. They would say, you don't know what you're talking about. But God has some proven himself to do to the people on this earth. And he said, I'm going to bring you up in the latter days against my land. This is the latter days. Thus saith the Lord God, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I would bring thee against them? And it shall come to pass at the same time, when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Lord God, that my fury shall come up in my face. this is the prophecy. This is the prophecy in old time. This is the prophecy in old time. This is what, if Gog could listen, he would hear that God had prophesied him doing this. And he's going to do it. And it shall come to pass at the same time, when Gog shall come against the land of Israel, saith the Lord God, that my fury shall come up in my face. We're going to stop there, because I want to get back on it tomorrow. My fury shall come up in my face. You know, we've read about God's fury in Ezekiel, haven't we? Fury. But this is going to really be an amazing thing. And this could happen in our lifetime. I do not know when it happens, as far as when about the rapture and about all of those things happening, and if this is before that or after that, but it's going to happen. So we will talk about it again tomorrow. God bless you.